No person who has inflicted the violence and terror that Kamala Harris has inflicted on this community can ever be allowed to become the president of the United States.
Donald Trump deviated from his focus on battleground states on Friday to visit a suburb in Colorado that has garnered attention regarding illegal immigration. Trump's rally in Aurora marked the first visit by either presidential campaign to Colorado, a state that consistently votes Democratic ahead of the November election. The Republican nominee has long promised to conduct the largest deportation operation in U.S. history and has made immigration a central theme of his political identity since his initial campaign launch in 2015. Aurora gained attention in August when a video circulated showing armed individuals walking through an apartment building that housed Venezuelan migrants. Trump has frequently claimed that Venezuelan gangs are taking control of buildings, despite local authorities stating that this was limited to a single block in the suburb near Denver and that the area is now safe.
The end of her presidential campaign, thereby guaranteeing unfettered access for Venezuelan gangs and thugs and criminals. And we're talking a lot about Venezuela because Aurora is really infected by Venezuela, but they're coming from all countries.
Disregarding those assurances from local officials, Trump depicted apartment complexes as overrun by barbaric thugs and streets as unsafe, blaming President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, his Democratic opponent.
10 minutes later, they opened fire on a 25-year-old man outside the building, fatally shooting him. Of the barbaric thugs who have been identified, at least 3 are illegal aliens who were in.
They're ruining your state, Trump asserted, referring to the Democrats in the White House.
What are they doing? What are they doing to Colorado? They're ruining your state. They're ruining your state. So let's do this. Let's just very quickly mention some of the really great people and great patriots, and then we're going to get back into the...
He remarked, no person who has inflicted the violence and terror that Kamala Harris has inflicted on this community can ever be allowed to become the president of the United States.
No person who has inflicted the violence and terror that Kamala Harris has inflicted on this community can ever be allowed to become the president of the United States.
Trump frequently employed dehumanizing language, labeling his political adversaries as scum and migrants as animals who have invaded and conquered Aurora.
It's the enemy from within, all the scum that we have to deal with that hate our country. That's a bigger enemy than China and Russia. In Venezuela, their crime rate went down 72%. You know why? Because they took the criminals out of Caracas and they put them along your border and they said, if you ever come back, we're going to kill you. Think of that. And we have to live with these animals. We'll rescue Aurora and every town that has been invaded and conquered. These towns have been conquered. Explain that to your governor. He doesn't have a clue.
He stated that the town is infected by Venezuela.
For Venezuelan gangs and thugs and criminals. And we're talking a lot about Venezuela because Aurora is really infected by Venezuela, but they're coming from all countries, all countries. We have the great Tom Homan, Central Casting, right? Tom Homan told me the other day.
We have to clean out our country, Trump declared.
On day one of the Trump Organization, when I founded it, it was nice. But now it's great. But I want to get back to the Trump administration because the Trump administration is going to do things like has really never been done. We're going to clean this thing out.
He revisited the controversial remarks from the beginning of his political career when he launched his 2016 presidential campaign by stating that migrants are rapists and bring drugs and crime.
They do. They're sending people and bringing those problems with them. And they're bringing drugs, and they're bringing crime, and they're rapists. Okay. So I made that statement, and I got the hell knocked out of me by the fake news. Look how many you have back there. Oh, I got the hell knocked.
I took a lot of heat for saying it, but I was right, Trump said on Friday, reiterating the false claim that other countries are emptying their prisons and mental institutions and sending their worst criminals to the United States.
I took a lot of heat for saying it, but I was right. And now everybody is admitting that I was right. You know, that Trump was right. How many times have you heard that? You know, when Trump ran, he made those statements. Those statements are peanuts compared to what's happening to our country. These are the worst criminals in the world. Kamala used to say, he can't say it anymore.
To loud applause, he called for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer.
And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer.
Later on Friday in Reno, Nevada, Trump asserted that the U.S. is an occupied country and added, "I make this vow to you. November 5, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. Liberation Day."
But to everyone here in Colorado and all across our nation, I make this pledge and vow to you. November 5th, 2024 will be Liberation Day in America. It will be Liberation Day.
In Colorado, Trump announced that as president, he would launch Operation Aurora to focus on deporting members of the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua, or TDA.
And just last week, police arrested over a dozen members of TDA, the Venezuelan gang. Very aptly named their law enforcement effort Operation Aurora, because Aurora was the one that was first and got all that publicity. At the hands of migrants who should never have been allowed into our country, I'm announcing today that upon taking office, we will have an Operation Aurora at the federal level.
This violent gang has its origins in a notoriously lawless prison and has been active for more than a decade. Trump also reiterated his intention to invoke the Alien Enemies Act, a 1798 law permitting the president to deport any non-citizen from a country that the U.S. is at war with.
To expedite the removals of these savage gangs, and I will invoke the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. Think of that. 1798. This was put there. 1798. That's a long time ago, right? To target and dismantle every migrant criminal network operating on American soil. Who would have ever thought that a president or a future president would ever have to stand here and say such things? Who would think that that's even possible to have to do? So many things are changed in the last 4 years.
Trump and his running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, have also propagated false claims about a community in Springfield, Ohio, where they allege that Haitian immigrants were accused of stealing and eating pets.
Now, you said that these are false rumors. Well, I've heard about a dozen things from my constituents in Springfield, Ohio. 10 of them are verifiable and confirmable. A couple of them we have direct firsthand accounts of, for example, migrants abducting geese at the local park and slaughtering them and eating them.